How are you, my darlings? I promised I would talk about my business, and I'm sure you couldn't wait. No, um, so where my business came from. I have been selling novelties since my children were little, and it just made more sense to me to not pay for babysitters and not have babysitters raising my children. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but I wanted to make money. So I started out at the Farmington, New Mexico flea market, which is a great flea market, and I started selling novelties there back in, I guess, 99, 2000-ish, and I've been selling novelties ever since. I have done a lot of work online. I have been a ghostwriter. I have created graphics. I have created websites for people. I have done spreadsheets for people. I've taken on all kinds of jobs to keep working from home, but my passion has always been my store and working for myself. And so when I ended up moving back to Colorado, I was in a very small town that is 2 hours from the nearest stoplight, Starbucks or Safeway, and that makes it very difficult. Um, so my family, for a while, had a thrift shop, and I started out in there with a knife room and selling novelties. Again, I love novelties. And then for a while, I had a tattoo parlor. My ex-husband was a very talented artist, but did not want to be a tattoo artist. And I started the business, I think, to save my marriage. And I think it might have ruined it. But when it came down to it, paying rent every month on a business in a small town, when you can't always guarantee that there's going to be a customer base, is really hard. And so I decided to cut out the rent and build my own store, which I had a camper that had been given to me. And so I spent the next few years gutting it out and putting a wood floor in it, putting shelves in it, and turning it into a fantasy cave and a fantasy gift shop. And then my divorce, well, I kind of had a nervous breakdown after my divorce, and I ended up here in the San Luis Valley, homeless, living in that camper for a while, which again had already been gutted out. There was nothing in it to be livable, just sleeping on the floor. And I have saved all of my stock from the original family thrift shop. I have saved all of my stock from my tattoo parlor, anything that was left over, and then I have slowly built up stock over the rest of this last 10 years. I've bought it $5, $10, $20 at a time. I've bought closeout lots, and I am ready to stock it. But what we are missing right now is a truck to pull it, and events to pull it too, which they do cost a lot of money, some of the events. And since it is a 10 by 20 camper, we're going to have to pay for double booth space. But we have had it at a few events, and people were really excited. I actually heard somebody on the phone saying, "You've got to go check out this store." And we do still have to make it handicap accessible, so we're going to have to add a door that is wide enough and a ramp, which we've got some plans to do, like a pirate plank that folds down. We've still got some work to do on it, but like I said, it's just had to be $5, $10, $20 at a time. And then I've had to do all my own graphics, my own website design, my own ad copy. I make a lot of the stuff that we sell, a lot of the jewelry. I've got everything I need to make t-shirts now, except for the transfer material, which is a special printer paper and this powder that you put on it that makes it a transfer. I have the heat press, and the heat press makes hats. And then I've got a bunch of bling and vinyl to make t-shirts. So we're getting there, but it is so slow. And it's just always, if we make money, it has to go back into the business. Because, well, first of all, I am on assistance at this point, and I did make too much money at one point, and they took money away from me, and I don't like it. I hate it. I want off of it. But for now, I just have to keep trying to grow my business and getting myself to a point where I could be self-sufficient, and that is my ultimate goal. And I don't care if I'm ever rich. That's not the goal here. The goal is being able to support myself. And the other thing is, I've always wanted to travel. And this business will, if it ever gets going, allow me to travel. The main thing we sell is juggling sticks. So when I was having my nervous breakdown after my divorce, I ended up here working part-time for a factory that made juggling sticks. And I really loved them, and I really loved what they do for people. And watching kids learn is amazing. Watching them say, I could never do that, and then a few minutes later they're flipping sticks, and they're be able to make it into something that looks pretty cool pretty fast. And that's just so exciting for the kids, and that excites me. We we ordered our first set of sticks from our old boss, and we ordered $1,500 worth of sticks, and then the factory burned down, and we never got our sticks. And I was in the middle of getting a grant through Social Security. There's a division of Social Security called Vocational Rehabilitation, and they help disabled people find what they need to get back to work, whether that is helping them find the right job or helping them get the things they need. It could be hearing aids or prosthetics or a special chair because of back pain and retraining to do a new job. And in my case, they evaluated me, and I was not employable because my illness is so unpredictable, and we never know if I'm going to be stuck in bed for days at a time, sometimes weeks at a time. Never know if I'm going to be vomiting or have headaches or be in pain. So continuing to work for myself was really the only option in that respect. So I did apply for and obtain a $13,000 grant, and they started me in my own stitch production, which when we did work in Telluride, before we were forced to move far, far away from Telluride, which I'm going to miss it, we never walked out of there. We usually made between $700 and $1,500 in a 4-hour period. Sometimes they had the night concert and we could double that. We did really well. It wasn't unusual for us to make $1,000 in 4 hours. So it was good, but seasonal. And again, we couldn't afford to get into the bigger. Some of the events cost from $400 to, one of them we looked at in Telluride is $1,500. It's a weekend. We would make good money. But when you do an event like that, you have to have the stock to cover it, and you have to have a place to stay. And so we've had to rebuild our whole lives. My son and my partner helped me form this plan where we had a van at the time, but when we lost our house, we had to sell it so that we could buy this RV and have a place to live when we're not traveling. And that kind of blew my plan again. And that's always, there's been setbacks, and, you're constantly having to readjust, especially when you're poor. And it is very hard to be poor and run a business. Like I said, I have to do everything myself that other people would hire. I have to make my own business cards, my own flyers. Like, it's a ridiculous amount of work. And I am not good at bookwork. I hope to God I can find someone else to take that over. I have asked and asked and asked. I've asked my family. There were even bookkeepers in my family, and I couldn't get any help. So that is the one thing I definitely need help with, is a bookkeeper. And right now we're rebuilding, not from scratch. We still have all of our stuff to make sticks, and we have all of that stock I told you about, and it is enough to stock the store. The store needs finished, and then we need a truck to pull it. And since we had to sell the van, which was set up to be a camper, sort of van life, but very basic, we're going to have to get a truck and build or find a camper shell so that we have a place to sleep. We've still got a lot of steps to do before we're actually mobile, but the goal is eventually to travel to events all over the country. I have spent the last few years cataloging every event I could find. I have looked at all the Ren fairs. I have looked at all of the food festivals. We do really well at events. There has to be children there. Um, Kids are our number one customer. Number one customers. They're the ones who are usually interested in our products, and we have expanded the line from just juggling sticks to um, a lot of non-battery activity toys. We sell kinetic slinkies and poi, LED poi, and then we're launching our own leather poi. And then, of course, I want to have the t-shirts and things like that. So while we've been on hiatus trying to save up the money to keep the business going, we have been selling vintage toys and games, which kind of goes in the theme of flower sticks and juggling sticks and flow arts. So we added that in, and so I have my eBay store and I have my Etsy store, and I make my own jewelry, plan to make my own t-shirts. I do have my Cricut electronic cutter, so I can make my own stickers and coloring books, and I have my really high quality printer. So I do have some of the stuff we need. I still need a few things to get us there, and you will find an Amazon list below, and that has some of the stuff we need. Some of it's for the business, and some of it's just to make this RV livable, because we are living with no running water, no gas cooking facilities. We have no cooking facilities, and my toaster oven, or it's kind of an air fryer slash toaster oven, just quit on us, and that was my only means of cooking in that respect. I do have a 1980s microwave, because this is a 1982 RV, so I think the microwave is original or very close to that, and that is all we have right now. Somebody stole the generator, and that busted the gas lines, and we have to redo those. Our hot water heater is out. Our air conditioners are rotting, and they're destroying our roof. So we have a lot to do on the RV to make it livable, and this is not the RV that we're going to be able to take on the road. And so eventually, hopefully, we will get a truck that can pull my camper and work our way up. So that is my business. That is what I do to make a living, and we will be going into more of that. I just shipped off an eBay order today. So that is what I'm doing to build my life and my future. And right now we are in the San Luis Valley, which is very difficult for building businesses. We are quite a ways from the events. We're only an hour from Salida, so that is an option, and we're hoping to get into the farmers market this year, my partner and I, so that we can start out again there. But there's the Denver flea market and the Colorado Springs flea market, which are both about 3 hours away, so that will be our next option. That's part of the reason we started selling vintage toys and games, though, is our sticks are, I don't know what they're at right now. I have to figure, because prices are going up. They were $50 a set, and now they're more than that. And if they're fiberglass sets, they would cost $120. And right now, I don't think we're going to be selling a lot of fiberglass with the economy the way it is and everything. And fiberglass sets are generally more for professional, experienced artists, flow artists, not necessarily for kids or flea market goers. So there are options, but we have to have a lot of different things to make this work. We do have novelty pins, games, all kinds of stuff like that. Just a whole fun. Our theme is fun, for sure. I love vintage toys. I am excited when I find new toys. I find Cabbage Patch Kids, and I did find a stuffed animal from the 70s, which was really exciting. I have a couple from the 80s that were ones I wanted as a kid. That's one of the fun parts. I've got a lot of stuff to list, but I haven't been able to list with moving and not being able. We've got to get the business flowing again. So my partner has their own camper, and this is going to become fully office at some point because I do need room to work and a space to work. And right now, the back bedroom part is turned into my office, which means my computer is almost sitting on the floor. It's not easy to use it all, and my printer's up in the air, and it's not the best situation. So we're going to try to turn this whole RV into an office and then turn the bedroom back into a bedroom so I have a place to sleep. We've got a lot of work ahead of us, and hopefully it's all worth it. I know I'm crazy. I am houseless and still building a business, but it is what keeps me going, is that possibility of bettering my life and being able to work for myself. It's really, really hard not having an income. And when I do have an income, it's a very minimal income. So I would like to change that. But we've still got a long way to go. And I still have to do most of it myself. And I still deal with my health problems. So I would ideally like to hire more people, especially to take over the bookkeeping and be able to pay people to help me with website design and stuff like that. I like doing graphics. I enjoy doing graphics. So that one I probably won't outsource. So yeah, that's where we're at with the business. And I just wanted to give you a rundown of what we do and why we do it. We sell vintage toys and games, even some that we make ourselves, but they're still vintage style. And we do make high quality leather capped flower sticks, and they are hand painted. I do all the painting, and I am the artist. I do also have the stuff to do acrylic pouring. I just need a place to do it. So that is what we're trying to work out at this point, is how can we make this RV my workspace. And that's going to require us getting things out. And then we also need a vehicle so that we can pull it. And then we need to be able to convert that vehicle into some sort of camping setup so that we don't have to pay for rooms. And I know I come across people who are like, they don't think I have a plan. They don't think that, but there is a plan there. The plan has always been get the store open, get it mobile, and get to flea markets and festivals and food festivals. I think we would do okay at some of them as long as there's kids there. So, yeah, I hope that we can grow, and I'm determined to get myself there. I just, right now, I am on such a limited income that it's just $5 and $10 at a time, and it's hard. So I do have an Amazon wish list below where you can donate. I do have a Patreon so that you can support us monthly, and that will help pay for our travels. So you can donate as little as $5 a month if you want. It's like a subscription, and if you do donate, then we will be sending you little gifts along the way. And so there are ways you can help us. Now our Amazon gift list does have stuff for the RV and for the business, as I said, so you can kind of go either way with that one. And of course you can always leave a comment encouraging us to keep going and let us know about a new product we might want to sell. And as long as it stays in the vintage toys and games realm, or t-shirts that have to do with vintage things, then that's perfect. So thank you. And hopefully if I keep trying, I can get myself there. I hope. I don't know. We shall see. If not, it's kind of like do or die at this point. It's what keeps me going. So thank you for being here, and don't forget to check the links below if you want to see if you can help us out. If not, don't forget to comment and let me know that you're out there and that you support, that you're cheering us on. I love to know you're cheering us on. And I hope you can keep negative comments to yourself, because I don't need any more negativity in my life. I need lots of positivity. So thank you for being here, and bye.